everyone. Welcome to Database Security Office Hours for March of 2022. I'm Russ Lowenthal, substituting in for Rich Evans, who is on a well-deserved vacation, by the way, this week. Rich will be back with us next month. Just a reminder that we do record these calls. You should have already got the little Zoom meeting note that the call is being recorded. I'll have the recordings up on the Ask Tom page, usually within a couple of days after the call. We do security office hours every month, and apologies, I thought I had updated this slide, but not. There's only one session now with the with 2022. We switched it from 2 to 1 sessions. We just weren't getting very many people coming to the second session, so it didn't make sense to continue doing that. But the idea behind the monthly office hours is to keep you informed of what we're doing as a development organization, to give you a chance to ask questions if you've got something maybe you're not seeing in the documentation, or you're not getting answers to an SR or something, and to give you a little bit of continuing education. What's changing in the security world, what's new, keeping you up to date with the latest. As we go through today's session, please enter any questions down in the Q&A panel that you'll see at the bottom of your screen. You are not limited to the main topics for today, which are data safe and the Exadata Cloud Customer usage of KeyVault. Anything database security is fair game. If I don't know the answer, I'll collect your contact information privately and get back to you as quick as I can with that. Before we get into the main topic, just really one announcement, and it kind of goes along with everything else. We have had support for Exadata Cloud Customer in DataSafe actually for a year now. But we were in a limited availability with that, which meant that you had to send an email to me or someone on my team, get us to allow list your tenancy in OCI to use DataSafe with Exadata Cloud Customer. And the reason we were in limited availability is we do our best to make sure that the automation works, to make sure that our wizards are as error-free as any wizard ever can be. And we went through several iterations for the Cloud Customer integration. I'm happy to report that we're finally satisfied that this is something that is ready for prime time, no longer requires special handling. So if you are using Exadata Cloud Customer, there's no longer a need to apply for limited availability. You can start using DataSafe today. As with all Oracle Cloud services, DataSafe is included at no additional cost with Exadata Cloud Customer. That means you can use it and not have to pay anything additional for it. The only thing to watch out for is we do put a storage charge for audit records if you exceed 1 million audit records per month for any given database. Now you can control that within the DataSafe console. I think you've probably all seen that before if you've been sticking with us in office hours, but that's really the only place where if you're a Cloud Customer that DataSafe has a chance of costing you anything. So please start using this today if you're a Cloud Customer, and if you have any problems, please let us know about it. The other is almost a mini topic. I stuck it in announcements, and you'll see it was in the title for this month's session. But another thing that we've been working on for a while with Exadata Cloud Customer is a better form of key management. If you're running your Exadata as a cloud service in our cloud, in other words, the ExaCS rather than the ExaCC, then your options for key management are pretty intuitive. You can either use local key store, or you can use the Oracle Cloud Interface Vault service to manage your keys. That Oracle Cloud Interface Vault service isn't really a good choice for on-premises use because you don't want a lot of network latency between your database that's consuming the keys and the key store. So we've been working with the Exadata Cloud Customer team to get this set up for a while, and we are now happy to announce that you can use KeyVault to manage your Exadata Cloud Customer transparent data encryption keys. If you haven't looked at KeyVault before, it's just our key management system. It stores TDE keys. It can store keys for ZDLRA, for Golden Gate, for just about anything. It is a multi-master active cluster system with up to 16 nodes. So you can scale really high with KeyVault. And in terms of availability, if you have something that takes down 16 nodes, you probably have other things on your mind to worry about. We deploy it as a software appliance, which means when you download it and install it, it installs the operating system, the underlying database for KeyVault, and the application all on top of a hardened virtual appliance. You can run it on premises in a VM, dedicated hardware, OCI, doesn't matter where that is, and it's pretty extensible. We use KeyVault really everywhere within Oracle now. It's used for our software as a service applications internally, throughout the on-premises market for everything from Golden Gate to ZDLRA to even to MySQL. And it's really probably the best way to manage the keys, especially for transparent data encryption. KeyVault manages, a single KeyVault cluster can manage millions of keys for tens of thousands of databases and keep up. We have customers using it at those levels of scale. In KeyVault 21, which is our most recent version of KeyVault, we released this January of 2021, so last year, we introduced secrets management. Secrets management is not an extra cost thing for KeyVault. So if you are already using KeyVault, you can use secrets management at no additional cost. And there's been a couple of videos, and I think we did an office hour session on secrets management a few months ago. But just a really good key management, secrets management system. We have supported autonomous database cloud at customer since just about the time it was introduced. And so you'll see that KeyVault is built into the autonomous cloud at customer deployment cycle. So if you're using autonomous cloud at customer, you've already had KeyVault available to you, and it's right there on the screens. For Exadata Cloud at customer, again, the new thing is we've got this certified now. This is only for Generation 2 ExaCC. So we have some customers that have been running this for quite a while. The old Gen 1, there's not a lot of new development being done on that. But if you do have a Gen 2 Exadata Cloud at customer, which is the majority of the customers that are running it, you can now use KeyVault with it. We give you two ways to deploy this. One is manually migrating your wallets from a CFS into KeyVault, and the other is automating that using REST commands. And which one you're going to choose depends upon, of course, how many databases you have. If you just have a few databases, probably the manual mode's the best. If you've got lots of databases on your Exadata Cloud at customer, it probably makes more sense to do the automated integration. From a MOS standpoint, MOS note 282.3650.1. This will walk you through the process for migrating a single database, manual commands, a very detailed note. Our own Peter Wall worked on this, and he's very detail oriented, but it'll take you through step by step everything you need to do. Again, if you're working with a lot of databases and automation makes sense to you, then we've given you that same level of detail for doing this using the KeyVault REST APIs, starting with something as simple as downloading the RESTful service for KeyVault before you ever get into it. So really easy to follow, really thorough walkthrough on managing your Exadata Cloud at customer keys in KeyVault. If you'd like to learn more about KeyVault, if you haven't played with it, we do have KeyVault in our Oracle Live Labs. If you go to the Database Security Fundamentals Lab, you will see that is one of the options for you. And again, if you haven't played with Live Labs, we've talked about that on other office hours. This is really your best free resource for keeping up to date, hands-on experience with Oracle technology. Please do take a look at it. We've even got a QR code for it now. All right. Let's move into what is probably the main topic, although for many people, the Exadata Cloud at customer piece would have been the main draw for today. And that is that after almost 6 months, no, I think we're over 6 months. I think we may have been right at 7 months for this project. Like any IT project, it ran a little bit long. I'd expected we were going to be done December of last year, but we're very happy we were able to finish this up the last week of February. and that is the DataSafe console migration is finally complete. If you were paying attention when I showed you those Moss notes a few minutes ago, you may have noticed that I started off on this screen. So this is the original console for DataSafe. If you're using DataSafe and you maybe have this directly bookmarked, you can go. You can see that now what's left here is basically something just saying we've moved everything into the native cloud infrastructure console. You should be using that for all of your DataSafe functionality. That console is going to look something like this. So the dashboard has moved over, all functionality has moved over, and the big thing is, for months, we have lived with a situation where we had some functionality in one console, some functionality in another console, as we were gradually moving function by function from the legacy console into the new one. It's now done, one console for everything DataSafe, okay? So really happy to have that done. With this move, though, comes a lot more than just a new console. We did manage to get some new features built into DataSafe along this time. A few that I want to point out to you. There is a new concept of a fleet view for DataSafe. And what Fleet View allows us to do is it allows us to look across all of the databases we have registered with DataSafe and get a picture for whatever function within DataSafe we're working with, how that looks across everything. Another thing that moving to the OCI console has done for us is within OCI, within the consoles, and it doesn't matter whether it's DataSafe consoles or anyone's console in OCI, almost anything you do through that web user interface has a REST API exposed that you can use to automate. DataSafe is the same way, and what that means is if you don't feel like going in manually doing operations within the DataSafe console, you can automate this using whatever your language of choice is. Python, Ruby, Java, doesn't matter. You now have full capability to build your own dashboards, to build your own workflows using those DataSafe APIs. And then we've talked about this as we were moving individual functionalities over, especially as we move security assessment over. You do get the ability now to use the rest of the OCI ecosystem with DataSafe. That's particularly important when you talk about events and notifications, because this is the way that you can get email alerts, for example, when something happens or when DataSafe detects that something has happened. All right. Let's go through just a little bit more detail on these. One of the new things that we get is that within DataSafe, we have had for a while the ability to detect configuration drift, and that was part of security assessment. We now have that capability to detect user and entitlement drift. So that looks a little bit like this. Okay, I can go to my user assessment function. And when I go to my user assessment function, my default view is this fleet view. Within my compartment, I have 4 databases that are registered with DataSafe right now, and I can see that across all of my databases, I have 4 risks that are critical, 4 that are high, 3, I get to see how many databases are registered, how many users, all of this information about my individual databases. I can still go to the individual target view. What's new when I go to user assessment is I now have this concept of baseline that we have had forever with security assessment, and I can track down very quickly when something deviates from baseline. So for example, in my database, my main database, it just so happens that earlier today, I went out and I created a user called Evil Joe, and I granted that user a couple of privileges. That change to my users and user entitlements is instantly visible within DataSafe, within a certain definition of instance. It takes a while to build the page for me. But as soon as the regularly scheduled user assessment runs, and this is all scheduled, you can control that schedule. We've talked about that in earlier meetings. this user assessment comes up and should be done here in just a second here, and we'll see what it is. But what we're going to get is a report on what is different in my baseline or from my baseline. So here it is. We're loading the page now. All right, so we see that someone has created Evil Joe. Again, I know this because I did it this morning. It is a new user. We've judged this as a critical level of risk. And the reason we've judged it as a critical level of risk is I gave Evil Joe select any table. My choices here, once I get a deviation from baseline, just like with security assessment, are to either accept the change, so I could set this new assessment as baseline, or more properly, to revert the change, which is what I'm going to do. If I can manage to type. So I have now reversed my change. And if I go back over here and I say that I want to refresh my, my assessment, I don't have to wait for the regularly scheduled to run. Then the assessment will run, the comparison will run. And what I will see probably in about 5 or 10 minutes is that when I come back to my target assessment screen, that you see, it's already says there's no baseline because it knows one's running. But as soon as this is finished, I will see that I am not deviating from baseline. I'm back where I should be. So a lot of you have asked for this for a while. This was great functionality for security assessment. We now have this as user assessment. One of the other changes is Fleet View. Fleet View is, I showed it to you for user assessment. Fleet View is available for security assessment, user assessment, activity auditing, and alerts. And the idea here is, again, you have multiple databases registered with DataSafe. You want to see what is the user risk across all of my databases, or what are the alerts across all of my databases, or what are, let's just take a look at auditing, because this one's an interesting usually. You know, if I'm looking at auditing and I want to take a look at what are the events of type, for example, failed logins across all of my databases, I can see that. So I've had 288 failures across both of the databases that I happen to have auditing being monitored for. I've had 4 entitlement changes across all of those, and I can drill in to get a picture of what those events are. So here what we're doing is we're looking into the audit trail, and we can see that within one database, there were 4 changes. I'm betting it's going to be Evil Joe. And we can see that sure enough, there's Evil Joe, and it looks like I also was doing some work with Bob a while back, and that was a couple of days ago. All right. So that's Fleet View, now available again for security assessment, user assessment, activity auditing, and alerts. With the move to OCI native comes a full set of events. Now, events are basically broadcasts, if you will, things that happen within an OCI service that you can create rules that allow you to subscribe to those events and take action based on those events. So we have events for registering a target or deregistering a target, or a target becoming unavailable or something like that. We have events for the on-premises connector, for the assessments, for auditing, and for alerting. And what these events allow us to do, and again, let's just take a quick look at events, is with events, we can go up here to the main menu. We'll go to developer services. For developer services, we'll go to observability and manageability, sorry. We'll go to events, and events let us create rules that do things like saying, okay, I've had this, this action occur, a user assessment drift from baseline, and so I want to take this action based upon this event. I'm going to call the notification service and send a DataSafe alert out. The The new events, let's go back here and we'll just create a new rule. The new events, if I pick data safe, allow me to go through a quite extensive list of things dealing with alerting, auditing, user assessment, security assessment. All of these are now available to create alert conditions or event conditions based upon these events. Okay. Also new, in change screens for me, also new with the move to OCI native is a change in the way we've been handling alerts. In the old console, alerts were basically a separate tab on the audit policy provisioning screen. In the new console, alerts are really a first-class citizen. They get their own portion of the UI. Oops, sorry about that. They get their own portion of the UI. And so if we go back to the Security Center, the Data Safe Security Center, which I pinned mine, and we go down to alerts. Again, remember alerts was one of the things that had a fleet view, so we'll see my alert status across all environments. But we can see for those alerts, what are the alerts? So let's see, what do I have? It looks like I've had one alert. That was probably me dropping. Oh, these are my failed logins. What am I getting here? Okay, so I'm trying to log in as someone and failing. Let's go back here to alerts. So I get my picture of alerts, but I also get the ability to set alert policies. And alert policies are not customizable right now. In other words, what I have is just what's in the alert policy. But if I want to create alerts when someone changes an audit policy, I can do that. I can apply that policy either for all of the databases in my environment, or I can choose the databases that I'm going to apply this to. So complete control there as well. Last thing we want to talk about with the change in console for DataSafe is APIs. Everything in DataSafe is now an API that is exposed and available for use. So if you go to the DataSafe documentation, you will see just a complete list of all the APIs, what the inputs and outputs are. And again, everything that I've done in the console manually today, everything that you can do in the console, as far as I know, everything really is available for use through the API. To get at those APIs, if you're a developer type, you start off by going to docs.oracle.com. Once that comes up, you'll go to database. Once database comes up, we'll go to related products. You filter for database security. I could have just scrolled down. There's my DataSafe documentation, and all of the APIs are documented here. And so now I am within the DataSafe APIs. Hang on. And so this is where I start, and you can see APIs for alerts, for alert policies, for audit events. I'm often asked, for example, about how could I integrate audit from with DataSafe with, say, an external service like maybe Splunk or Q1 Radar or something like that. That's possible now, because in the past we didn't have an API for this. We now have an API that allows you to actually extract an audit event and move that audit event into a different system. So all of this is now easy to do within DataSafe. And let's see, I think that was it. I kind of did my demo as we were going along. I had this this grand plan for doing everything, talking you through all the slides and then going through the demos, and then I just didn't do it. That's again, that's it for this month. If you've got questions, please ask them again in Q&A. But other than that, thanks. right around 30 minutes. I'll stick around to answer questions for a while, but we hope to see you next month for office hours. Rich Evans should be back then. We've got two big things coming down the pipe. One of them is a change to KeyVault. There's some exciting new functionality coming to KeyVault. The other is a change to Audit Vault and Database Firewall. Again, there's some really good stuff coming to that. That'll be the KeyVault 21.4 release update and the KeyVault 21.4 release update and the Audit Vault 20.7 release update. If either of those makes it out before next month, that'll be our topic for the office hours for next month. If not, then I think Rich has a list of topics that you guys have submitted to him that he's planning on going through.